On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
We want to reach our goals, and when we reach them, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to you because then you need a new goal, otherwise you feel empty. And that's exactly what happened to me 3 years ago when I hit the millionaire status again. And I was like, well, what now? What should I do? And then, it starts creeping in and you need to find something else. If you're listening to this and you fear of doing anything in life right now, launching a new business, talking to a girl, going for that hobby, skydiving, but I don't recommend that because it's a extreme sport and you should be licensed. Just go for it, like maybe,
Yeah.
there's something. I think God put everything behind fear for a reason. And if we can switch that off or just go through it and feel that fear and pay the dues, then reward are gonna come your way.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast. I'm back to you here today with another king on the stage, my brother Alex Micol. How we doing, Alex?
Psh,
Yeah, the old
Hi.
salute. I love
Good
it.
morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good morning to me. 8 a.m. here, but you're in Dubai, my man, and it is not 8
Yes.
a.m. your time. You're chilling in
Nope.
the afternoon, and I'm so excited that you're here. I'm glad you carved out some Dubai time to be with us.
Of course, of course. I like the podcast, so yeah, let's do it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Well, tell us what kind of business that you have.
I sell products for third-party companies and I get commissions based off that. And that's called affiliate marketing. So it's very popular people heard about affiliate marketing, but I think a lot of people don't truly understand what exactly how it works. So yeah, I'm happy to explain everything about it today as well. And I also
Yeah.
share my story, how I got into that, because I was pretty young. I'm still young, you can tell. Like I'm in my
I don't see any
20s.
grays over there.
Not yet. Even though I had some stressful phases in my life, I still keep my black Italian here.
I appreciate the kind of like the just practical naming there. I mean, of course, affiliate marketing, everybody knows that, but just the way that you explained how you get to sell products. Yes, we definitely want to dive into that. I think that there's a lot of tickled ears around what affiliate marketing maybe really is. And so I definitely want to give them the opportunity to learn. Before we do that, though, yeah, I do want to know a little bit more about your story. You obviously got started pretty young, but at this point, like you said, you're still young, but you've been successful, like really early in life and quite successful. And so what is left for you, Alex? Like what's burning on the inside? What's your why? What's the thing that's going to keep you going for the next 100 years, maybe?
Well, I think the why is shared by everyone. We want to reach our goals, and when we reach them, it's probably the worst thing that can happen to you because then you need a new goal, otherwise you feel empty. And that's exactly what happened to me 3 years ago when I hit the millionaire status again. And I was like, well, what now? What should I do? And then, it starts creeping in and you need to find something else. And I want to keep growing and I'm still young and there's so much out there to do. And it's actually, I think on a spectrum, some people don't know what to do and and don't know where to start and what to do. And on the other extreme is there's other people that see so many different opportunities that they can't pick one. So, I'm somewhere more lenient towards the other extreme, and there's so many different things I want to be doing, and I'm just 26, so I'm just hungry, and nothing fills the void, the money or the successes that I had. I think is just a starting point, and as Gary Vee says, I'm just getting started, and that's exactly how I feel for my biological age, that point of view, and also my career, because I just the possibilities just keep expanding. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm always gonna be hungry.
How do you, I mean, I love the word hunger. Like it is a deep-seated word. There's a lot of meaning behind it. But
Mhm.
for you specifically, what do you think drives the hunger? I mean, okay, maybe early it was the money, but you became a millionaire at 23. Okay, great. Wow. And then you're like, well, what now? It's like all these other possibilities, but that's kind of like you know, just a rounded answer, which I appreciate. I love rounded answers. I love ambition. That's really what it is.
Yeah, sure.
But the person listening right now is like, yeah, but dude, what are you really gonna go after at 26? That you don't already have. No, you and I both know that $1 million is like just scratching the surface. But tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I think there's always a chase, happening. Like we're especially men. Like I don't wanna
Yeah.
we can generalize at some point, but there's always like, differences also in genders. But I think like we are we're meant to chase, and that's just how it is. It sounds cheesy, but that's at the end of the day exactly what we need to do. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't care. I can be happy for a bit. I can do fun activities. Like I see people jet skiing in front of me. Yeah, that can make me happy for a bit, but it's not going to fulfill me. So I will always have the deeper sense, the deeper need of fulfillment. And that's only going to come if I do hard work and I get results, whether it's at the gym, whether it's building something, but it's certainly not coming from like short term pleasures that I can get here and there. Like I can get high real quick, but that's not gonna make me happy the day after. It's not gonna fulfill me. So there's that. Then there is also the competition side of things. So I'm always competing with others, but especially with me. So for example, I did something a month ago, which was interesting. I wrote a list of what the better version of myself has or does or is.
Love it.
And that is better than me right now. So I'm comparing myself to a better version of myself. And I think like, okay, what is this guy doing that I'm not? He's talking to every beautiful girl on the street. He drives a supercar. He has a six pack. He has a successful YouTube channel. And I go personal, and it's not like just 6 or 7 points. I'm talking 30 to 40 different points that I make. And until I don't beat that version, I'm always gonna be working on it. So if my villain, if my hero, whatever it is, has a six pack and goes to the gym every day, no matter what, then I can't be lazy tomorrow and not wake up and go to the gym. In fact, I'm going to the gym pretty much every day ever since I made that list because I'm like, oh fuck, if I'm not training, he is, so I should be training. And I think that's something that I always did, maybe less consciously. Maybe usually we think that our villain is someone else, like someone we see on the street or like someone on YouTube or our friend. But I think the true battle is with ourselves. And I also noticed that just channeling this focus on myself and my own version of myself is just much more fruitful and, I don't know, healthier for me to grow. So there is that. There is always something to chase. Also, Matthew McConaughey said once when he received this Oscar, I think a few years ago, I remember printing out this quote, putting it on my wall. So when I would lay in bed, I would look on the roof and read the quote that says, "My hero is me in 10 years." And he has a speech. You can go check it on YouTube, and it's interesting. Like just the concept that he's always chasing a version that is 10 years ahead. And when he arrives there, no, he didn't reach his goal because
Yeah.
his idol, the best version of himself, is 10 years ahead. So there's always something more.
Yeah, first off, thank you for diving in because that was I was trying to peel you back, and man, you just gave it to us full force, and so we're in it now. No turning back. Appreciate that. Okay, so if we're going after this thing, right? Like I love everything that you just said as far as the next version of ourself, and even just the exercise that you did as far as writing down who that guy is and what's the difference between me and that guy. I think that's just an incredible exercise. Where in there? Because even going to, Matthew McConaughey's example there, if that guy's always 10 years ahead, to someone listening, that might sound depressing. Like, oh dang, I'm never going to catch him. But the game isn't to actually catch him, it's just to continually become him over and over and
Mhm.
over. And there's actually like a settling in our spirit around like that I'm never going to catch him. That's not the game. The game is just to continually press towards him. And as
Mhm.
he grows, I grow. And so what would you say about that? Or maybe that person that was listening right now that's like, man, that sounds tough. What are you talking about?
Well, it sounds tough because it is tough. Like life can be tough, but at the same time, we do hard things to have an easy life. If we do easy things, we're gonna have a hard life. No, typical quote. And
Yeah.
that's exactly the point. So why should it be easy? Why should it not be tough? It is tough for a reason because that's how we get stronger. We don't get stronger by lifting things that are lights, We want to make weights light. That's how we get stronger. And that's the same thing in life. Like I want to be doing hard things every single day so that I can become stronger and then, everything gets easier. That's it. So I self-inflict hard things in my life so it can become easier. So everything can become easier. So when something really, how do you say, something really challenging comes my way, I'm prepared because I've been training the whole time.
Yeah.
And then your life is starts being much easier. Of
That
course,
that moment
most.
in time of challenge, I wanna just talk about for a second because you're 100%
Mhm.
right. We have a same thought process. I do things or I inflict on myself, as you said, I love that language. I
Mhm.
inflict on myself these hard things so that way when real challenges come, I'm not just blown away by the wind. And for the person listening right now might be like, okay, well, how often do really big challenges actually come? And why am I preparing every single day for maybe only a couple times out of life? And now I've got my answer, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on why would you train every single day in such a hard way to just be able to overcome a couple of challenges?
Well, a couple. Depends, it comes in waves, but at the same time, what else do you wanna do with your time? That's also one thing.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, what else would you be doing with your time if not improving? And also, again, things fall apart if you don't work on them. That's something I realized. And
Yeah.
so can't sleep. You fall asleep on a win, you wake up on a loss. And that's something that is very true. And because of that competition, I don't know, it's just something instilled in my essence that I can't get rid of. And maybe it sounds basic, but that's exactly how it is. And again, I have goals. Like I think everyone should have goals and really try to understand what we want to do. And even if you're not sure about what we want to do, just pick something and go for it, and then find out
Yeah.
during the way. For example, I found notes. I got an affiliate marketing, but I didn't know if was going to be successful, right? Like no guarantees in life.
Sure.
And recently, because I was just moving from one place to another, I found notes that I wrote down when I was 18, and I have them. And I wrote down that I wasn't sure if affiliate marketing was actually gonna give me any success. I wasn't sure if going to Las Vegas in 2016 when I was 18 was gonna be beneficial for me. And I wrote down all my fears, and and I also wrote down like analysis, like pros and cons of doing that.
Wow.
And then turns out that, I mean, 8 years later, I'm like, hell yeah, that was a good choice. So
Yeah.
it always comes with uncertainty. So I think we should always just go for it, even if it's like scary. Like we should be courageous. We should just go after it and trust that things are gonna work out because they always work out if we put in the work,
Yeah.
and no matter what. And finding these nodes was just a testament for me because I was like, wow, this is actually, I got goosebumps. I was like, wow, I wrote
Yeah.
this 8 years ago. Boy, was I wrong. Like, if I knew the things I know now that things would work out eventually, why would I worry? And now, every
Yeah.
time something happens, I'm like, okay, things are gonna be okay. So
Yeah.
there's always, and and that's exactly it. If you train and practice, you're just gonna nurture this game, and it's just gonna happen again and again and again that you're gonna be good at. For
Yeah.
example, last week while traveling to Dubai, they stole my AP watch. I had my mom hospitalized, and then I had a series of other little things that I don't wanna get into, but just poking me all every single day. And I was like, all right, it's gonna be okay. But I
Yeah.
know for a fact that if I didn't, train, I would probably be more stressed like other people. And
Right.
that's exactly where I should be ready because my mom needs me. And who cares about the watch that's gonna come back? And by the way, it did come back because the police found it. So that's a good story. That's very rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we should be strong for ourselves, for our friends and family. And yeah, that's about it.
Dude, I love your mindset. I love how you tied that back to my original question as well, as far as, why do you train hard on the daily? The I guess the thing I want to pull out for the listener that I heard, which is in alignment with what my thinking is as well, is there will be moments. And we think of a couple of big challenges that come in our life. Typically there's going to be several challenges along the way, even every month. But we just become not necessarily immune, but those situations where the watch or your mom or whatever, it's like we just rise to the occasion that much easier. We become the king in that moment that we're designed to be, just that much easier because we've been training. And so I just want to encourage the listener that it's not just for the sake of, money or all the things. It's like, no, actually, this Alex is saying this is who he is. With money aside, watch aside, that's why it was so simple to him and way he was saying it. He was like, "Nah, it's just so simple. Like, what else would I do with my time? It's because this is the way that he's designed. This is the way that you're designed. If you're listening to this right now, you're a king on the inside. You just have to do the things on a daily basis, which then bring forth the things that Alex has already experienced, some of the things that I've experienced in life. I want to move on a little bit to your story, how you kind of got involved with affiliate marketing. You kind of tipped us off here on 18. You went to Vegas. Give us a little bit of that story. Give us how it unfolded a little bit.
Sure. Okay. I'm gonna make it real quick. I was 12 years old and I was building fan pages on Facebook just for fun. I was competitive back then already, and my goal was to have the biggest fan page about Cristiano Ronaldo, so my favorite football player.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. I just wanted to have as many followers as I could until I managed to get on one single page. I had like 4 million followers,
Wow.
and I yeah, to get there, my accounts got hacked. I had my pages got stolen 2, 3 times, but I always restarted until I reached that status that I had the biggest fan page out there. And then the side effect of that was that I was reaching millions of people a week without spending a dime. And I had companies reach out and asking me to, pay me to promote their products or
Mm.
football jerseys, whatever it was, or just buy the page. And I was like, they're, I don't know, they're just trying to, get the page of me or like, do something weird. But then after some mind, I was 14, 15, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But then it kind of made sense, right? Because you're like, wait, if I watch TV and their ads, they're spending millions of dollars. That's what I heard from my parents and
Yeah.
TVs and stuff. So it makes sense that they would pay me a couple $100s, if not a couple $1,000s a month to promote their products if I reach, similar audiences in terms of sizes.
Yeah.
So then it happened. I started making more money than my teachers and I had to declare it. And I had to go to, a tax consultant and he asked me what I was doing and I explained it to him and he said, "You're doing marketing." I was like, "I'm doing what?" "Marketing." "Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. I heard about that word once. I Googled it, marketing. Interesting. I'm just posting things on my Facebook page that I would do
Yeah.
regardless and getting
As
paid
a
for it. So that
teenager.
sounds Yes, exactly. So yeah, like imagine like me making more money than my teachers was funny because then it gave me that confidence inside of me that even if I didn't do my homework and and they would tell me that I was a complete failure, I didn't feel like a failure because I never
You knew
told the
better.
teachers that. Yeah, I mean that's what I thought, but I didn't tell them anything. I didn't want to be arrogant. But then that something clicked. I was like, okay, if they pay me money, it's because they make more money, right? They must pay me $100 because they must be making at least $110. So what's behind the websites I'm promoting? And what I found on these websites were ads, you know, other ads. So I was like, okay, what's the next logical step? Can I make more pages? Yes, I could. Is there more money to be made if I did other things? And then I stumbled on affiliate marketing because I saw all these ads on these websites promoting products.
Mhm.
And then I just found out through other friends that type of one of those business model was affiliate marketing. And then I just went for it. So I remember like the last year in high school, I think I did 50K, like 50 grand, something like that. And
Yeah.
then after that of organic traffic. And after that, I switched to paid because I understood that organic traffic, so posting on my accounts is limited by my audience. But if I invest money on Facebook ads, it's unlimited because I can reach
Yeah.
all the 330 million people living in the US, for example. So I was like, okay, that sounds cool, but it's scary as hell have to invest your own money because I never did that. But at the same time, I was like, yo, new challenge. Let's just go. I was scared the first time I started, doing this Facebook thing. Let me just do it again and be scared again. Because usually after, if there is fear in between or if you fear to do
Ding, ding,
something,
ding,
it's
ding.
probably the right thing to do.
Yep.
And that's why I have this mindset to just, literally dive in. And speaking of fear and diving in, what I do in my free time, it's diving off a plane. So I skydive to push my boundary of fear. So I got comfortable now after doing it so many times, jumping off a plane. So I gave up that sense of control. I know it's gonna be fine, and I just jump off it, and I'm relaxed, and I do fun things, and that became very, very rewarding. If you're listening to this and you fear of doing anything in life right now, launching a new business, talking to a girl, going for that hobby, skydiving, but I don't recommend that because it's a extreme sport and you should be licensed. Just go for it. Like maybe
Yeah.
there's something. I think God put everything behind fear for a reason, and if we can switch that off or just go through it and feel that fear and pay the dues, then reward. are going to come your way.
Yeah, I I agree with you that fear is only it only lives where we allow it to live, I guess, is probably a good way to say that as far as summation what you just said. I love the skydiving. I personally haven't done that, and the time I got the courage to actually go and try it, I had multiple children, and my wife's like, "Zero chance, pal." Like, yeah, that's probably not smart. So let me make sure my life insurance policy isn't needed quite. Anyway, all that to say, the perspective here is okay. So you got started really young and you kind of fumbled across some things. But what I heard, dude, is that okay, maybe you were 12 when you got started, but you just said you became a millionaire at 23. That was 11 years later. And
Mhm.
almost every entrepreneur, this is something I have not talked about at all, but almost every entrepreneur that I have interviewed and or just known over the course of time where I've gotten to this part of their story, where I've kind of known a little bit more about their net worth, it took them about 10 years of doing something focused and like hard after it to hit the millionaire status. And it's like,
Hmm.
dude, here we are with Alex right in front of us telling us that like if you didn't if you hadn't told us what you just shared with us about getting started at 12 and fumbling across a couple of things that were you are making more money than your teachers. If you hadn't told us that part and we only went with the beginning of I became a millionaire at 23, you naturally would have just thought that you just got the million right away. You started at
Yeah.
22, you got it at 23. You understand what I'm saying? So talk about
Yeah.
this for a second. I mean, this was 10 years of like, okay, maybe you weren't the actual age that typically people are building a business, but you were like really going after this for a good solid decade. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know I was going for that until I was like 16. I was like, oh, money. I want to do
Right.
more of that because I can buy my own things. I don't have to ask my parents. Also, my parents are divorced and I didn't want to weigh on my mom and all of that. So I was like, this is powerful and I can make a
Mhm.
living out of this. And, you get to a point where you're like 16 and people start talking about universities or colleges in the US. We call them universities in Europe. And like,
Uh-huh.
the life path we want to go for. And I was like, why would I sit in a classroom studying business is if I can practice it right away and just, instead of reading a book about the taste of an apple, just grab the damn apple and just give it a bite. I just went for the
Yeah.
other option. And and yeah, that's just my preferred way to do things. Just go straight at it without wasting time and scary, risky, say what you want, but that's the only
Right.
way that I found success. And I think that's a lot of successful people share the same idea. And that's
Yeah.
just how we wired. At first, we're not wired at all. We need to explore it. But when you start doing the same, like taking risk and you go on kind of a repetition mode, you stop feeling the fear. Like you still feel it,
Right.
it's there, but you don't give it so much weight. And then
That's right.
at the end of the day is who cares how you feel? Just do what you
Yeah.
gotta do.
One last thing here before we move on, because you're 100% right when it comes to the fear and repetition. You said it actually about your skydiving, is that you've done it so much now to where you fully let go of control. You know you're going to jump, everything's going to be fine. How does that correlate to business? Because you're right, we have to take risks and we have to continue to take bigger and bigger, not necessarily more risky, like a higher volatility risk, but we just keep taking risk. That's what business is, even though it
Calculated
might look a little
risks.
different. Yeah, calculated risk. So, but how are those the same? Because you've jumped and maybe it's a different plane, maybe it's a different, height, it's a different
Different
business, it's a different
parachute.
year. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
like, but you got to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's start from skydiving. It's easy to picture. First jump, you go on the plane. You know you're gonna have to open the parachute by yourself, although you have two instructors. You're sitting there, you're 15,000 feet, and the door opens up, and you've never been so scared. Like your legs are shaking. You go at the door, you look down, and you need to just jump. And your mind and every cell in your body is telling you not to jump. And I went through that. It's not like, oh, it was always easy to skydive. I I pissed in my pants, literally. Okay, not literally, but really, it's super scary. Like I first jump was incredibly scary. I landed, I was devastated. Like I had such an adrenaline rush and fear. I was super tired, but they forced me to go again and again. Like at the three jumps that day one, and I
Wow.
just went to bed at 8 p.m. because I was devastated. Like I went through so many emotions in short amount of time. I was just terrified. It took me 100 jumps before I could hang at the door and just let myself drop without thinking that, oh, something bad would would happen because I would be at the door
Wow.
and always fear I don't know, I would always have that fear inside of me. Now I did more than 300 jumps and it feels like any other day. Like if you told me like, oh, we're going to jump after the podcast, I'd be like, oh, let me gear up and come. And I wouldn't fear. But again, that only comes with repetition. I'm still how do you say, I'm still cautious about things. It's not like I
Sure.
don't check my gear. I don't think that something could go wrong. We're taking calculated risks. Same thing with business. I remember doing my first payment to a stranger to buy a fan page. And that was scary. Like I had to go to Western Union and give and give
Those places are
someone.
scary. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was like yeah. Besides that, like going in a weird location at the train station to give someone $300, it felt very dodgy. And I was like, hopefully that money is gonna, buy something that I actually want and I'm not gonna get scammed. Super
Yeah.
scary. But wow, buying that page was the best thing ever. It
Yeah.
made me a lot of money. So I'm grateful for that. And then the second time, you're not gonna fear so much. And sometimes doing this was a lucky shot maybe, but I did many things the first time and it went wrong. Like I got scammed. But then we shouldn't close our hearts, like even with personal relationships. Like you have a
Yeah.
girlfriend and the girlfriend breaks up with you. Okay. It's not you. It's just the relationship with her. You're gonna find someone else. So it's always scary. All these things are scary. Launching your first business, all of that. But if you do them enough times and you don't get discouraged by the challenges in between and maybe the failures, you're just gonna get good at it, and you're just gonna every shot you don't take is missed anyway. So you have nothing to lose. And I think it comes all with perspective. Like I started young, so and people say like, yeah, that's your advantage. Yes and no, because it's still the same challenges. Like I remember people at school like, oh, but isn't that scary? Like you're 18, you're gonna try to launch a business. What if you fail? Well, what if I fail? I'm 18. I can go back to school like you did, like you were doing anyways. Oh, okay, I would
Yeah.
start at 20. Oh my God, my life is over. No, so I think it's always like putting things in perspective and truly understanding what the risk is. So if you have kids already and you're sitting at home, even then, I don't think it's too late. Like, probably you don't respect my opinion because I'm still a kid, but I think the way I'm wired, even if I had kids or
Yeah.
and I would be 50, I would still take calculated risk every time and just trying to push myself forward just because I know myself by now by continuously doing new things. I'm launching a real estate business now in Indonesia. I don't know how it's gonna go, but yeah, I'm calculating everything and uh, hopefully it's
And
gonna
we'll
go
see.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
way.
Hey, kings and queens, Chaz Wolfe. I want to talk to you about something that's super important to me. We put a lot of time and effort, we meaning myself and my team, into this podcast, into the content that goes out every single day. And if you have been getting any sort of value or insight from this, we want it to be able to reach other business owners too. So we would love if you would like, comment, share, leave a review, post, share again, all of the things on social media, on all the different platforms, or even on the podcast mediums of Apple and Spotify. We would love to be able to get our content into more hands, more entrepreneurs, so they can grow their business as quick as possible. Together, we are building a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who are committed to growing their businesses to new heights. So let's do this. Let's help each other. Let's help each other grow. You're right. It doesn't matter the age, young or old. I mean, in fact, actually, most successful entrepreneurs don't start their business until their 40s. And so if somebody's listening right now, 40s, even 50s, there's so much time. And it doesn't have to be risk filled where, everything's on the line, although that's okay too. I'm not opposed to that. I've put all the chips in the circle a couple of times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you live to see another day. And I think that's the message here is just go for it.
Yeah.
The repetition piece is huge, man. I think that, you get into 300 jumps now and not feeling any fear. But the reality is that up to 100, you said, you felt
Yeah, up
fear.
to 100.
It's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's a lot more jumps than I bet people were thinking that you would say that you would have fear until, which is just like business. It's just like life. It's just like relationships. Like it's going to take a lot more than you probably think to actually hit that level of success that you have in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These are the
100
things
jumps.
that
You're
we're
right.
after, right?
Mhm.
This
Yeah,
is why
I
we got to
mean,
keep training and get better and better. So you
um,
kind of mentioned a couple things here that I want to dive into, but I want to do it in a form of a good and bad decision. So tell us something that along the way here that one of these risks that you've taken or whatever have done really well. Has been a good decision, practical, that the listeners can learn from.
I mentioned going to Las Vegas when I was 18. In Europe, you're legally an adult at 18. In US, that's different. You need to be 21, right? So the conference was in the Paris hotel, which is a casino. So I had to be 21. I never been to the States, but I knew that that conference was gonna change everything because all the big players in the industry were going there. But I was 18.
Mm.
So I traveled. I used a fake booking account to checking at the hotel so they would let me sleep there. And how did I get at the conference? I had another friend going, so I made a copy of one of the badges and just used that to get in. The fear of doing that was unmatched, but I was so driven that I had to be there no matter what, that I just had to go for it. In fact, when I remember going to FedEx asking to do a copy of this badge, the guy called the cops on me. And I remember just running away, like in a movie scene, jumping in a taxi, like, go, 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 go. I was like,
Wow.
yeah, I was in fear, but and I also spent quite a bit of money to travel to the States, and I was alone there. But while at the conference, I made the right connections, and I think that month I made over $50,000 in profits, and that was like January 2016, something like that. That month was highly profitable because of that conference, and I was so afraid to fly there. I had some weird reason that I would, I don't know, potentially die in a plane crash. I don't know why. Like not logical, just emotional. That I feel it wasn't for me. Blah 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 blah. All the fears. In fact, that's what I wrote down on the piece of paper that I found a few weeks ago, and turned out to be a tremendous success. And yeah, and that just kept happening a few other times where I would just go for things, and then they just turned to be beautiful and
Yeah.
successful. So yeah.
The story there, or that the lesson for the listener is it go for it? Is it get around to other high players? Like you said, several things that were really important there. Was it just overcome fear?
I think it's a combination of things. So you always, I think you need to be really good at networking and meeting the right people to have the right conversations. So it's all about in which room you enter and who is sitting in that room. I think that's has everything to do with your success, any level. For example, there's the Bilderberg group, like the most powerful billionaires meeting up and in, I don't know, in Europe and talking about things that moves waves. It's you bringing in the right friends in your group, and instead of drinking beers and, I don't know, playing beer pong, you talk about how to grow and, what business to start and having those type of it's always about that. So you should go for things and always, just execute and ignore the fear, like feel the fear, but just push through. Should always try to find better people that are already at the level where you want to be, and not try to bag informations, but just to put in the work and have a normal conversation with them. No one is going to give you a handout. No one's going to give you anything for free. You need to put in the work. But if you're planning on starting in any industry, then find the right events. Go meet the people that are already in there. If it's music, go to a music conference. There are many, like we would be surprised. Like there are conference for everything, literally everything. And if you go there and if you're doing your research on Google and whatnot, you will find the right conference to attend. And there are multiples. You don't even have to go to another continent. You can find them in your state. Like there is a lot out there. And I think meeting the right people is also super, super important. And yeah, that's a skill that you should master after some time, overcoming that social anxiety and just talk to people. That's actually something I felt as well at the beginning. I remember going to the conference, 18, suited up, like, hello, my name is Alex. This is my business card. And I thought that was the way. And then I saw my friend, Timon, shout out to Timon, just going after everyone's like, hey, bro, what's up? And talking, and yo, this is my friend Alex. He's just starting out. And then you just vibe. And I think networking is such an important skill. And if you master it, you can talk to anyone. And that means you can learn from anyone.
Yeah. If you can talk to anybody, you can learn from anybody. Love that.
And yeah, it's better.
The free oh no, you said it. I just repeated what you said.
Oh, okay. I thought it was because I'm Italian, so sometimes I speak English as an Italian, and
Oh no, dude. I was just repeating what you said. The realness of what you're saying, though. I want to just pause for the listener because you've given so much juice in the last 2 minutes. I mean, really the whole podcast so far, but you can you can get over fear. You said feel the fear. You said don't get rid of the fear. You said feel the fear. In fact, you even wrote it
embrace it.
down, which I love that. But then you push through. A lot of that having to do with getting around people that are maybe have specialized knowledge. Think and Grow Rich talks about in order to have riches or success, you have to have power, and power comes from specialized knowledge. And so that's why you were getting around these people or this specific conference, specialized knowledge. Okay, great. But then you took it another layer. It's like, dude, you got to know how to not just network, but know how to really vibe. You use the word vibe. I use the word frequency. When you stepped into that room and like stiff in your suit and handing out your card, that was a totally different frequency or vibe than your buddy that was talking about just being casual, being loose, being authentic, which is, it's the same prep work that we talked about a few minutes ago before we hit the record button. I'm like, look, man, this is going to be a great conversation. We're going to be casual. We're going to do this with the listener. Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
And it's just a frequency. And you can get on the same page with other people that have a high frequency. That in
Yeah.
itself will help you be successful. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. You attract depending on your frequency level. So depending how you vibe or however you want to call it, name it,
Yep.
that's what you're gonna attract. So mm, you should tune yourself in, let's say, and be in a receiving mode and not in a scarcity mindset where you just push everything away, and that makes all the difference. In fact,
It
I don't know
does.
if we have time to talk about visualization and manifestation, but that's something that really changed my life at the core, and to the day it still does. And
Well, let's talk about it because it's a huge part of success and it's a huge part of people that are doing things in the world. So why don't we talk about it? What do you mean by visualization?
visualizing yourself having or being the person you already want to be, having the things you want to have, feeling the abundance of the universe, realizing there's so much out there that just you shouldn't even worry about not having something you wish for. And I think just practicing with eyes closed, imagining that you're already holding, I don't know, the key to your dream car or the key to the house you want to buy for your parents or for your family. Imagining the dream girl and just acting like if you already have, like tricking your body in thinking and believing that you already have what you wish for. That changes everything at the biological level, at the chemistry level, because like we change the chemistry with our thoughts, like it or not. That's why when we feel stressed, I don't know, we cause um, health diseases and whatnot. But if we feel that we live in a blissful life all the time, we actually experience the complete opposite. And there's Dr. Joe Dispenza so speaking a lot about these things and how, our thoughts change our chemistry and whatnot, and how our environment changes our body. And that's why it's so important to be in the right environment as well and create the right environment. So practicing visualization helps a lot, like a ton. And I want to give you a few examples also what it did for me.
Yeah,
It
please.
was 2020, early 2020, and my previous business wasn't really going very well, which was e-commerce. Plus, it hit like the cough virus. Sorry, can bleep that out. And so everyone got slapped in the face as a business owner. But then it turned out to be a fantastic opportunity for my other business that I was just playing with, and that boomed. Like, but before it boomed, I remember for weeks I would just every morning religiously go outside, lay down, do this 10-minute visualization of YouTube and visualize that I would just travel business class. I would, I don't know, invite my friends on a trip, move to Dubai, do this, start skydiving, skydive with my favorite influencer, this, and that. Believe it or not, everything I just said happened. Everything I just said happened. Plus, recently another thing happened. I mean, it keeps happening. Like I moved to Dubai, I skydived, I met my favorite influencer, which is Jay Alvarez, and we started traveling the world and skydiving. I I I hired my mom so I could help my mom finally financially. So she works with me now. Girlfriend was there, business class, you name it. And then recently I found out, because I was never into cars. I never cared about owning a car because also of my nomadic lifestyle. But now, because I'm going to spend more time in Dubai, I wanted to buy a car. And I realized that I had a dream car deep in my brain, installed from the movie Limitless. And there's one scene where he drives a Maserati, and I don't have the car key here. But anyways, I just got a black Ferrari Portofino, which looks damn close to that car. And it just feels amazing driving it. I'm like, wow, actually, I did manifest this too. So I believe it so much that I even got it tattooed on my
Oh, yeah.
wrist as
Yeah.
visualize. Because, yeah, it's just powerful. So you trick your.
Cool.
Now I want to give the other perspective. I also lived in my life in a state of absence. Like, oh, I'm working so much, but this is not working out. When will this work? Oh, I need a girlfriend, and I feel like needy, and I don't know. I I have this energy in me and around me, that of absence, of scarcity, and that feeling of scarcity just pushes everything away, because you keep feeling bad about the things you want to have instead of feeling good about them. And if you're not in the right frequency, then you're just pushing them away instead of attracting
That
them.
last little piece there, because someone might be thinking scarcity. Okay, this is not a new word, but scarcity they might be thinking is like, well, I can't. There's not enough, right? And like, oh, I'm limited. But even just a little perspective that you gave to us there was really, really powerful. That you were not necessarily limited in the supply, but just in the way that you were interacting with your visualization, even, and not like basically fully surrendering to it, which it sounds a little bit vulnerable, but it's actually belief.
Exactly
It if you
exactly.
actually believe it, then you let go of scarcity or what you consider currently real, and you accept the visualization as reality. And so you're saying that you trick your mind, and it's actually there's two pieces here. There's a conscious and a subconscious. And so you're using your conscious thoughts, your ability to lay down and put power towards thinking about these things. And all you're doing
Mhm.
by every day doing it is that tricking or training your subconscious mind to believe that these things are actually true. If your subconscious mind believes that they're actually true, guess what?
Mhm.
Things start happening. Now, you start doing
Yeah.
things. It's not just magic, okay? You start
Yep.
doing the things that are necessary to put yourself in the right position, or be in the right room, or make the right calculated risk, or be drawn to a certain conversation that happens on a pod, or you're listening to a pod, or whatever. Those things happen because you brought them right to it. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
You being 26, this is pretty impressive that you're already like, pressing so hard into this. There's, a lot of much older folks that still have a hard time grasping the reality of what it looks like to sit down, to write out, to say, to visualize in your mind these things. Why do you
Mhm.
think it's been like something that you've been able to grasp? Like, why do you think it's just been, it just seems so logical to you? You've used the word logical a couple times, simple. Why do you think it's been so simple for you just to start doing these things?
I had the right interests, or I was lucky enough to have the right interests early on, and I never accepted the things as they are. Like, for example, the school system, even there, I was always questioning everything. And I would not read the books that the school would give me. I would just research on my own. And I don't know, I was reading Napoleon Hill or all the classic Robert Kiyosaki when I was 15, 16. And if you feed if you feed your brain that type of information early on, you can't unsee the things that are around you and not
Yeah.
see what's out there. And that's exactly what happened. And then at the same time, I was blessed with being competitive and building fan pages that it allowed me to make money. So, this early experience in my life allowed me to understand that, I can actually do things by myself. I don't have to follow the same route as everyone else, and it's actually possible, because maybe we hear of people doing that, but I was actually the one doing it in my circle,
Yeah.
and that was extremely powerful, because then there's no coming back when you understand you can make money by yourself, and with, I don't know, just a few hours of work per day, and knowing that you can scale that up. You can't go back to a normal job and accept that you're gonna get a, I don't know, an hourly rate, no matter how good that hourly rate can be, because you don't want to trade your time for money at the end of the day. I mean, to
Mm.
some extent we all do, but that's exactly the point. I never wanted to be rich. I wanted to be wealthy. And that's a big difference because rich means you're rich in money. Wealthy means you're rich in both in money and time. And that's something that I didn't come up with myself. Like it's something that I read in a book when I was 16, and that was Robert Kiyosaki. And, when it starts clicking in your brain, can't go back. And that's maybe it's a curse or maybe it's a blessing. I think it's a blessing. And but I'm
Yeah.
cursed that to the day I will always try to make more businesses and scale my life even more in terms of quality and in terms of my bank account. I'm not gonna say here I don't want to make more money because I'm a capitalist and I love it.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Real quick here, I want to know because I haven't gotten to the bad decision, and we're almost at time here. What was something that just practically that you did that was inside of one of your businesses that didn't work out that maybe we can stay away from?
Oh, one main thing. I mean, many actually. Many, many. But for sure I did invest too much money in stocks that just flopped. And that was not good. The theory of you should not put all eggs in one basket. Yes, I put one egg too many. But other than that, it's like, hmm, I'm very loyal, but at the same time in a stupid way sometimes because I
Mm,
stick to people that might not be good for me.
that's good.
And and that can be problematic if you stick too long with people that are not gonna bring you forward, that are not gonna improve your life.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're just gonna have to let go. And that is true for business partner as it is for friends and for, partners in private life. So that's probably the heaviest thing or the thing I need to learn more or that I had to learn the hard way to let go. And when you create the space by letting go of people, it makes space to let new people in.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm a bit slow on that even to the day. And I think that that has room for improvement to,
Yeah, that's incredibly self-aware for you to recognize that. Although loyalty, I feel like, is one of the most honorable characteristics that you can have. So, for the listener, I don't think Alex is going to beat himself up too hard on this one. Although it's incredibly self-aware, especially for a 26-year-old, to recognize that the downfall of loyalty, which is really that you believe in other people more than they believe in themselves. And what that can lead to is, them making bad choices, choices that you wouldn't make yourself. And it just takes a minute to go, you know what? We're not on the same frequency or we're not in alignment. Eventually, you recognize it. You've already said that you recognize it and you leave space for other people. But I'm just incredibly impressed with you and with your answers. Go ahead. You were going to say something else?
yes, I think you should still be loyal to yourself, So I think if you're loyal to yourself, then you will realize who the right people are and not. So I think I just prioritize other people over me,
Yep.
which sometimes can be done, but on a long term, it's just unhealthy and it doesn't even help the others. As much
Yeah.
as you want to keep them in your life, it's just not good for anyone. So be
Yeah.
loyal to yourself.
Yeah, there's a principle here that you can't actually serve or truly serve others with an empty cup. And that's what happens over the course of time is that if you're not loyal to yourself first, which sounds selfish, it sounds, arrogant, it sounds, all
Yeah.
these kind of negative things. And it's like, well, but if you
Yeah.
have an empty cup, then inevitably you're going to be vulnerable to the people that are around you and you're not even going to serve them to what you think that you're serving them at the capacity. And so take a little bit to focus on you, which I think it sounds like you're doing. So proud of you for that. Alex, I got one last question here for you. This is going to be the most interesting person. You are the most interesting person that I've asked this question to because you're only 26. But the question is always the
Mm.
same, and I'm going to keep it the same because I think that you'll give us a good answer. Is if you had a chance to whisper in the younger Alex's ear, what would you tell him?
Dream bigger. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. It's going to happen. It's not if, it's when. And I actually tell that to myself now, thinking that my future version of myself is going to come back and do the same. So I'm trying as much as I can, even if it's scary, to do that already now, thinking my 35-year-old version is whispering to me right now. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, take it from the 36-year-old Chaz across the mic
there we
going,
go.
yeah, dude, I see you.
Whisper, whisper.
Whisper, whisper, whisper. You are an incredible human, Alex. You've been successful in business. You've obviously been successful in your mind and in relationships. outside of that. And so I'm thankful for your time here today and giving back to the audience. How can the listeners find you? Number one, if they're an entrepreneur, they want to connect with you. Maybe they want to go skydiving with you. I don't know. Or two, if they're interested in this affiliate marketing stuff, where you can help them
Mhm.
grow a business. How can they find you that way?
Oh, I have a YouTube channel filled with free content, and it's my name. It's Alex Micol, just simple as that on YouTube. You can find my YouTube channel. I speak pretty much only about affiliate marketing, and you can find everything there.
Perfect. Well, we'll put that in the show notes as well, and that way they
Mhm.
can kind of dive into the world of affiliate marketing. You obviously know what you're doing, my man, and age has no limit on you or me. I've never been a subscriber to age being a limit, and you have come along the same lines and busted all those fears and preconceived notions from age out of the water. So, thank you for your success. Thank you for all that you're doing in the marketplace. Thanks for buying a
Thank
Ferrari. Thanks for doing the Dubai thing and listening to your story was just so inspiring because it doesn't matter if it's a Ferrari or in my case, I want to buy real estate, bigger pieces of real estate. It's the same stuff. It's like just dream bigger. It's because it's possible. And so thank you for giving
Mhm.
that to us here today. Thanks for being here, Alex.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.